Hey everyone, Zach here from ZTF Studio. Hope everyone's doing well. Today we're going to be talking about how I incorporated the tom mics with the overheads for the drum sound on the song So Cool by the band Kewl Zoo. So here we're looking at the edit window in the top part here on Reaper, and on the bottom is obviously the mixing window. So with all the drums soloed here, we're just going to listen to this section that I've highlighted and looped. So we'll take a listen to that. So you hear a lot of kick and a lot of toms going on in there. So, and as you can see, I've taken out a lot of the space between each hit on the toms. It's not because that's the sound I'm looking for. I'm using the tom mics as the transient, or the bringing the toms a little bit more forward in the mix. The majority of it is coming from the overhead mics. So let's just take a listen to the overhead mics, overhead hi-hat and floor tom mics. And then if we listen to the mono overhead and the mono room mic, so that's the mono overhead right over the drum set, and that's the room. Alright, so some of the tom sound is coming from the overheads, some of it's coming from the mono room. And like I said, I'm using just the tom mics as giving us just a little bit more of the forwardness of the toms. So if we just listen to that, it's going to sound really weird, very gated, clipped. I'm also using it for where I want the toms to come from in the stereo width. So the tom 1 I have at 31% left. The second tom, and these two were rack toms. So tom 2 was 20% to the right, and tom 3 is about 52% to the right. I don't like wide toms. I like them more stereo in a very small stereo field. So once again, as you can listen, if I go over here to this, yeah, that's why this is a better section. You can hear where everything is. Yeah. So that's just giving us a little bit more forwardness of the toms, like I said, and where in the stereo field I want them to sound where they're coming from. You add the overheads with that. If you're wearing headphones or you're in a really good stereo field, you can hear the toms moving within the stereo field. If I take off this, yeah, it just brings it more forward, and that's what I was looking for. And then a little bit of the room and the mono overhead. We add the kick. Take that all off. This is the whole drum set. Alright, so let's take a look at what I did on the channels, on the track channels. Let's take a look at tom 1. So it looks like I rolled off the low end at about 102, 103, pulled a little bit of 173, 174 up just a little bit. Probably didn't make much of a difference at the time. Probably I thought so. You know how that goes when you're mixing something, you think you're making a difference and you're not really sure if you really are or not. Going on, let's see here, 326 got pulled out about 8 dB, pulled out a little bit of 1800, who knows, that really made much of a difference, and then pulled out a little, about almost 4 dB of 5600, so that probably did make a difference. And then I rolled it off at about 10,300 hertz. So that's on tom 1. That was rack tom 1. Rack tom 2. Okay, it's been a while since I looked at this. Rolled off at about 100 at 52. 16 dB of 103. I have no idea, but that's what I did at that moment. And then pulled out all of 235 hertz. Pulled a lot of 7400 up, almost 11 dB. Don't know what I was thinking, but it made it work. And then rolled off at about 1200. So looking at the tom, the floor tom, tom 3, rolled up about 52, pulled a lot of 71 up, about almost 16 dB. I don't know what I was thinking, but I guess that worked at the time. Pulled out a lot of 235, just like this first, or like the second rack tom, and 2.5 dB of almost 5200, and no roll off of the top end. All right, so that's what I did for the EQing on each individual tom. And then on the bus, the tom's bus, I have this Waves MV2. And from what I think I understand how this works is that as you pull the high level dial down, it's bringing the attack more forward, more in your face. And then I don't do anything with the low end on the toms here, but as you bring this up, it's going to bring up the low end. And then the output, just gotta, adjust your output. So that's what I understand about this. You can always hit the question mark, and like so, and you get the manual, and basically, the welcome, the dynamic processor, which provides low level and high level compression. Yeah, basically that's what I was thinking. Low level compressor can be explained in simple terms as the opposite of standard or high level compression. In standard compression settings, a signal above the set threshold gets compressed and attenuated. So, you bring your threshold, and as the signal hits that, it gets compressed so much depending on the adjustment, and so it gets compressed and then it's turned up. With the MV2 low level compression function, a signal below the set threshold gets compressed upward, resulting in increased gain. So the low level, the louder it is below the threshold, and then when it hits the threshold, it brings the level down. So the opposite of what the high level compressor functions is comprised of compression with automatic makeup gain and output level control. So the compressor function is similar to that of the Waves Renaissance Vox. The compressor is controlled by the threshold fader, which sets the amount of desired dynamic range compression. An automatic gain makeup function compensates for gain reduction, resulting in the applied compression. Automatically applies dither, which compensates for digital quantized errors. Okay. So that's kind of like what it says there in the manual. All I know is that I was playing with it, and I like what it does. All right. And then the next thing I have in there is some crazy settings here in the dynamic EQ. So we're rolling off at about 88. We're pulling a lot of 100 out there, and obviously within that bell curve. Same thing here. About 195, so almost 200, and the bell curve tells you exactly. We're going all the way down to 1K, or all the way up to 1K there, and almost all the way down to 32 hertz there. Just pulling that all up, the low end, and also pulling up 400 kind of thing. And then roll off at 5300. So that, whatever, on the day I was mixing that, that's what was making it sound the way I had it set. And then we have this plugin by Tukan Studios. It's called the D Sharp Treasure, or Dis Treasure, which is basically a distressor. And as you can see, it looks just like one. Input's about halfway in. The tack is about 4, so not too quick, not too slow. Release is almost 0, so I'm not holding on to it very long at all. And the output turned up all the way. So that is the setup for the toms. So that's what I did on the toms with the the EQs and the compression and the dynamic EQ. And this is all going over to the all drums, and we have some stuff on there, and we'll talk about that again at a later time. But basically that is the sound that I was getting on the toms that was working well with the overheads and the room microphone. So I hope you enjoyed those videos. If you want to hit the like button, much appreciated, and hit subscribe if you want to know when the next video comes out. There's no schedule really. Try to do at least one every 7 to 10 days when I have some time to put these videos together. So have a great day, night, whenever time you're watching this, and we'll see you on the next video. Thanks.